Alright, so today is a special video. My name's Az, welcome back to Go Again Gaming. And this is just a shout out video, like a thank you video to everybody who I've met throughout the entirety of the world thanks to Flesh and Blood card game. So Flesh and Blood's ethos is to bring people together for the love of playing great games, or something along those lines. I don't know how to recite the statement, but basically what they want to do is bring people together to play in the Flesh and Blood through the common language of playing great games. And that is pretty much what's happened to me and my life. I've made so many friends over the course of the last year, like since I've been active on YouTube and Twitter and all that sort of stuff. And I've got Flesh and Blood to thank for that, because without that game I wouldn't have made these amazing connections and these amazing friends that have done amazing things for me. So I just wanted to shout out everybody. So if you're new here and you're just you're seeing this for some random reason, then please make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell notification for all of the Go Again Gaming videos. I am due a spoiler card soon for Dynasty, so if you're new here, do that stuff. But for everybody who's watching this because of the fact that you engage and watch my content because we're friends now, then this is for you, basically. Now, I may miss people off of this list. That may happen. So if I do, leave a comment in the section below roasting me for it. And maybe I'll make you a separate, saucy, sexy video to make up for it. But hey, I digress. So yeah, it goes without saying Flesh and Blood has brought a lot of us together that wouldn't normally meet otherwise. And it's weird to think, what the fuck was I doing before Flesh and Blood? What was I doing with my life? My spare time, at least. And honestly, I can't remember what I was doing. Maybe just moaning about magic. But hey, this video is about appreciation, so that's what I'm going to be doing today. So first of all, obviously I hail from the United Kingdom, and obviously this is where I'm based. But funnily enough, a lot of the people that I'm in contact with and the people that have made a massive impact aren't from this country. So I'll definitely shout out a load of people. I mean, this is definitely worldwide situation. The internet and the people that are playing this game is so much larger than just the United Kingdom. But so first of all, I'll shout out all my patrons that are from the UK. So we've got Andrew Mason, fantastic guy. Big Boss Book Club. This is Tom. So he does run a. You can probably see it in the background here. Big Boss Book Club there. Go and check them out on Instagram and Spotify and wherever you get your podcasts. They do a variety of different things. Thank you very much, Tom, from Big Boss, for supporting the channel. David George, also known as DGTCG. All these people are on Twitter as well, by the way. DGTCG on Twitter. Big Boss is Big Boss Book Club. And then Andrew Mason is Andrew Mason, I believe, on Twitter. David George, thanks again for being a patron for a few months now. I'm glad that you see value in the content and just in my general sort of vibe and energy. Thank you very much. Then we've also got Dane and Tobias, both of the guys down from sort of Devon area. Thank you very much for your constant support. Dane, thank you very much for working with me on that separate project. Only people in the Discord will know what I'm talking about here, and it's still very, very much on the lowdown at the moment. But Dane, thank you very much for writing a lot of the lore behind that project, and it is really, really coming to fruition. So stay tuned for people that don't know. You can get a little bit of hints in the Discord, though, I will say that. Tobias, thank you very much for, just giving me loads of stuff. I know you're a patron on the highest level, you're an enlightened one, but that's not the only stuff that you've given me over the last couple of months. You've really helped me source and solidify a lot of my own collection as well. I can only thank you. I can't thank you enough for that, because you are a great guy, very, very generous as well. So thank you very much for what you do and how you support me. And Lille was a fantastic time, I might add. What a great time that was, my friend. Hopefully more to come in the future with regards to trips and all that sort of good stuff. And finally, Connor. He's not really that active in the Discord, but he's there. He's been supporting me since the beginning on Patreon. And he actually reached out to me and said, I really believe in what you're doing for the game. Albeit you're not competitive, here is my support for what you're doing in the sphere. And again, that sort of love and dedication to me, even though I'm not a competitive player, just goes a massive way. So again, needed to shout you out there, Connor. So thank you very much. So yeah, thank you very much for all the patrons that have supported me from the United Kingdom. Albeit I'm not really a sort of go-to competitive person. I'm more of like a positive force in the game. I don't care about winning or losing. It's more about the friends and the experiences you take along the way that really matter. I mean, at the end of the day, this is just a card game, which is to a certain degree random number generated. Let's be honest. Every card game is going to have that variance in it. And it's not about that. It's not about the game. It's about the people and the experiences you have along the way and the friends that you make as well. At least it is for me. But I'm not going to say I'm a competitive person. So again, thank you for everybody who's followed me, watches my videos, is in the Discord, giving their thoughts and feelings on the game day in, day out. Thank you very much. You probably know more about the game than I do, but hey ho, I'm glad that you find some value in my content. But some other UK creators I want to shout out. Push the Point podcast. They are the guys to go to for your sort of meta-analysis and, your hyper-optimization, all that sort of stuff. They delve into all manner of different things on their podcast. I wouldn't have the brains to think of the stuff that they think of. So shout out to them. They are lovely, lovely guys as well. I've only met Trip and Hamish. I met Trip at Lille. Hamish I met briefly at Kingdom Gaming. We'll definitely see each other again though at some point, and I haven't met Simon yet. And get me on the podcast if you want a janky positive force on your podcast that might not get many views. Then by all means get me on. But yeah, I'm surprised we haven't really done too much, because obviously we're both in the UK, but maybe our angles are completely different. Well, they are, aren't they? Let's be honest. But hey ho, maybe we'll see some collaborations in the future. We will see. And another guy I want to shout out again, who I met and spoke to more in Lille, was Finbar, aka Steelfer. Lovely man, also known as the Bear of Flesh and Blood. So yeah, again, another fantastic mind, and a lot of these players also play in the Pro Tour. I don't. I just play side events most of the time. But again, yeah, Push the Point, Steelfer are the go-to UK-based content creators for anything meta-analysis and strategy. That's for sure. Another guy I want to shout out is Vince Pleasant Kenobi, also known as on the internet. You are just a force of nature, my friend. It was great spending a lot of time with you in Lille. Karaoke was amazing. The Team Sealed event that we took part in was awesome, and it was just great just to hang out with you. So thank you very much for your time, and you did a great job as well when you went on to the casting. I remember the moment when you were called up and you had a hot dog in your hand. You just got on the hot dog, and then you were like, "Can Pleasant Kenobi please come to the casting?" And you were just like, "Right, okay, that's me then," and just walked off to the casting booth, hot dog in hand. I'd love to know how quickly you ate that hot dog, by the way. But yeah, thank you very much for a great time. And hopefully we'll see some more debauchery soon. We'll not see it, but experience it, Brilliant. Another guy who I want to shout out that probably, I haven't seen him do content for a while, but he's probably one of the main reasons I got into the game at the time, which I did, and that's Towering Titan from the UK, Christopher Sweeney or Chris Sweeney. People will know who you are, but again, because you're very, very knowledgeable and you used to make some great content. I'm not sure if you do so much anymore. These things, they take time, they take effort, and families and stuff. If you do have a life outside of flesh and blood, it's hard to keep up with these things, and I appreciate it. But I appreciate you nonetheless. And you can see so if you search Towering Titan on YouTube, you can see a little interview that Chris did with me actually, as well as a few other creators in the UK space on his channel still. So go and check that out while you can. So yeah, without Towering Titan, without Chris, I probably wouldn't have got into the game at the point of which I did, because he was streaming some Monarch at the time, and I just tuned into the pre-release that he was doing with Protec cards, I think it is. Yeah, I mean, I took a lot in that that session, but the charging the soul and banishing cards and blood debt and stuff was a bit too much for my brain to handle at the time. So I went back to Welcome to Wraith, Arcane Rising. I discovered Arcane Rising was my favourite set, probably still is to this day. But yeah, thank you very much, Chris, for your support early on, and other people that turned up to Leal as well that I met for the first time. So Calum, Darren, and Steve, who would obviously knew Tobias. You were great as well. I loved getting my ass kicked by Darren. He's the guy who I chose for my fantasy league that we were playing with a lot of the Americans, Canadians. I didn't know what I was doing when I was in this league. Again, I'm not competitive or pro tuned in to who's doing what in the pro scene, so I just went with someone that I knew I would see in Leal, which was Darren. So forgive me, UK people, if you are watching this. Oh, you didn't choose me, it's because I didn't have a fucking clue what I was doing. That's why. But hey ho, I'm having a great time anyway. But yeah, you guys were cool. So thank you very much for playing some games in our hotel room, watching a bit of Independence Day as well. That was a memory. Bit of Will Smith late on. But yeah, shout out to all the UK lot. Obviously, you are the homelanders of where we are in the UK. So I just want to shout everybody out there. If I've missed anybody, I'm so sorry. But these things happen. Anyway, moving on to the next country, Spain. Not much to report from Spain, but I do have a patron called Eric from Spain, and he supported me for quite a while now. He wanted to get in on the Herald of Rebirth promos and has been with me as a patron ever since. So whether you've forgotten about the patronage, who knows? But thank you very much, Eric from Spain, for your ongoing support on the Patreon platform. So thank you very much. The USA. I should say as well, these countries are in no particular order. I just thought of stuff as it came up and just wrote it down on a list. So next is the United States of America. Where do I start with this? So for anyone who's in the space, anyone who's in content creation, I would highly recommend getting Twitter. Twitter is the be all and end all of networking if you're not going to events, especially for people that are not in your country. This is how I started talking to Red Zone Rogue. Probably one of my best friends at this point, to be honest. Not just in Flesh and Blood, but in general. I was going through a bit of a mental stint one day on Twitter. I was like, I can't remember what the precise tweet was, but it was something along the lines of, if you're a small YouTuber, you wake up and you check your subscriber numbers to only find that they've gone down in number overnight, and that really affects you as a small YouTuber. It's like, right, okay, how did I piss someone off? What did I do to deserve getting less subscribers? And Red Zone Rogue, who didn't know me at the time, maybe he's seen a couple of videos of mine at the time, I don't know, but he reached out to me and retweeted it, I think, saying, don't worry, this is what happens when you go through your Flesh and Blood journey. And it was in that moment where, because I was looking up to Red Zone Rogue, I still do to this day, as one of the most successful Flesh and Blood YouTubers out there, and for him to retweet or engage with one of my posts, and at the time, I still am, a very, very small presence on Twitter in comparison, for him to do that was very, very humbling. Again, it's just one of those things where, I got onto Twitter at a certain time. There wasn't too many Flesh and Blood personalities on Twitter at the time, and I just got on there to express thoughts and do some networking and all that sort of thing. And I didn't expect anybody of that stature to retweet my stuff and encourage me to carry on. So we were friends ever since then, because what I did after that is I actually sent him a friend request on Facebook, and I sent him a personalised video saying thank you for that. It's really, really helped me overcome the sort of the hurdle that I was going through mentally at the time. So I sent him a video, like a selfie video of my thanks. Ever since then, been speaking to him on a day-to-day basis almost now with the Living Legends podcast, which I'll get to in a bit with regards to the other member of that. But yeah, I can't say enough nice things about him. Really, he's just such a great guy, and cannot wait to see you in Worlds. At Worlds, we're going to be doing some cool things while we're there. And it goes without saying as well, with in tandem with Red Zone Rogue, Mr. DM Armada, Stephen Cookus. Thank you very much for everything that you've contributed to my growth. Again, another massive YouTuber that was on board with my idea of an ultimate pit fight series, a highly produced series that was. Well, to my abilities at least. Stephen was on board from the get go with Kel from Red Zone Rogue. He was on board from the get go, and thank you again for believing in that content and giving me, a very small British YouTuber that has no clue about the meta or anything like that, the opportunity and the time to be able to go through and record these videos and edit these videos with your name on it, because that takes a lot of belief. So thank you very much, Stephen, again, Mr. DM Armada, for giving me your time to do that. And again, I see Stephen as a friend that I could reach out to ask advice about anything with regards to YouTube and all that sort of thing. It's very approachable. Yeah, again, can't say enough things. We've had some great times on those UPF videos, haven't we? Let's be honest. There's some hilarious stuff on those ones. More to come as well. More to come. Don't worry. I'm editing the 4th one right now. USA, Jim from Fab TCG Cards, a great guy who I've been speaking to more and more and more as time goes on. I always knew he was an Azalea fan, because Red Zone Rogue and DM Armada are always like, oh, Jim wants to play Azalea, we should try and make him play something else, when he went to like a Team Sealed, Team Blitz event. So I've always knew that Jim was an Azalea fan, and what better way to converse with him on a sort of fortnightly, weekly basis than to speak about Azalea on the Azalea cult. So yeah, perfect guy to do that with. And again, just he loves his Azalea character, and so do I. So we've always got something to bounce off of on the Azalea cult. So Jim, again, cannot wait to meet you at San Jose later in this year. Another guy that sort of maybe started his journey in a similar sort of vein, similar sort of time to me, was Tommy from Fresh and Buds podcast. This guy is just fantastic, and in an auditory sense, he is dominating that podcast space, I think, alongside other folks we'll get into later, different nationality. But yeah, Fresh and Buds has been there from the beginning, and it's just awesome, because if you go back to his first episode, it was basically just him speaking about his love, his discovery for Flesh and Blood. He was speaking just to us as an audience. He didn't have any guests on, but then he started getting guests on week after week after week after week, and then every single person wants to be on Fresh and Buds. It's that simple. I've been on there twice, and I want to get on there again. So Tommy, if you're listening to this, let's do another one, shall we? But yeah, Fresh and Buds, Tommy, a fantastic guy. I've actually got a Christmas card up there. You can't really see it up here. Oh, my head's in the way. It's like, because the camera's backwards, it's hard to organise. That there, right there, is a Christmas card from Tommy. I think there's another one as well. There. Yeah. So there's a couple of things that Tommy has sent me internationally. He sent me a Christmas card, and as well as that, he sent me like a thank you letter as well, for because I support Tommy on Patreon, and you should as well, because just a fantastic guy. But yeah, yeah, he's a lovely man. So Fresh and Buds, keep it up. Next we have the Combat Chain. Again, I wanted to mention the Combat Chain on here because Patrick Shaw, the co-host or / host of the Combat Chain, used to be a patron of mine very, very early on. So again, it was nice for Patrick to support me during the sort of initial first few months of when I started, and then obviously he went off to do his own thing, and I hope that maybe I'm a contributing factor towards that, because I know you spent a bit of time watching my content and supporting me in the early stages. So I'm so glad, because you was always talking to me about it. You always had this idea that you wanted to do content, but you didn't know how to do it. But now you're loving life in the combat chain, and long may that continue, my friend, because thank you very much for your support early on. I appreciate you can't do that all the time, and that's fine. But, you know, the combat chain is now here as a result, hopefully, of the journey that we've had as well. So yeah, well done on finally achieving that goal of creating content. And yeah, just I wanted to shout you out as a result of that, because you supported me very, very early on. So thank you very much, Pat. And yeah, I mean, I'm probably missing a lot of people here. There's probably a lot of people that I've met recently as a result of Twitter that I don't have on this list as such, but I've got all of the people that have supported me early on, all the people that have believed in me from the very, very start. I believe I have covered on this list here. So again, leave a comment in the section below if I've missed any of you USA lot out. I'm sorry if I have. But these things happen. But hey ho. But what I wanted to also shout out is my patrons from the USA. So the longest standing patron of Go Again Gaming is Andrew Donnelly from Pennsylvania, USA. Thank you very much, my friend, for always supporting me. You were there from the very start, basically, of Go Again Gaming. As soon as I did that video where I said, right, I'm doing a Patreon thing now, you were there straight away. And I believe that's because maybe, for those who don't know, I used to have a Magic the Gathering channel before this. And I believe Andrew viewed that channel as well. So when I made the transition to Flesh and Blood, he was there from the very start. One of my first subscribers, one of my first patrons. So Andrew, I know we haven't met yet, but we speak a lot on the Discord, and I message you privately with my own thoughts and feelings on certain things, and ask you for advice sometimes as well, because you are an accountant. So yeah, you know your tings. But yeah, again, thank you very much for being so supportive for so long, because it's nearly been a year now. You've been a patron at the highest level on Patreon, so thank you very much for that. But yeah, thank you again. And Collision Point as well. I believe you are making content, or you plan to make content in the future. Collision Point, thank you very much for supporting me through Patreon. You're an absolute hero, and I hope you get your Dungeons and Dragons campaign going, because that is a space that needs to be explored. I do have an idea and a strategy of my own, which obviously involves, you may have heard of this, Red Zone Rogue, Bill from the Spike Feeders, which we'll get to in a bit, Chalice, and Dead Summer. So hopefully that materialises. It's hard to organise all those time zones, but hopefully your project comes off soon, Collision Point, because Dungeons and Dragons, Flesh and Blood could be an amazing area to explore. So yeah. So in that same sort of landmass, we also have Canada. Canada, there's a few fantastic individuals in Canada. First of all, I want to say Bill and the Spike Feeders. You guys are just absolutely awesome. Very, very warm, welcoming people. Thanks for supporting me very, very early on. I think I did a tweet where I think I did some sort of tweet that said, "Oh, I'm gonna hit 200 followers or 300 followers or something along the lines of that on Twitter, or as subscribers, something like that." Then I think it was Red Zone Rogue. We retweeted that tweet, and then you jumped onto it as well and retweeted it and said, "Oh, go and help this guy. He's great. He's lovely." And I remember you also being on the Fresh and Buds podcast and speaking very, very highly of me on that podcast as well. So again, I didn't even know you very well at that point, but for you to just give me the love and give me the shout outs so early on just goes to show that you guys are just fantastic. And for those who don't know, Bill from the Spike Feeders also does a lot of videos on Spike Feeders Fab. So there's Spike Feeders, which is obviously the Magic the Gathering side, and then Spike Feeders Fab, which is obviously the side that Bill is on the most. They do fantastic in real life gameplay content with like little breakdowns and gauntlets and all that sort of thing. So definitely go and check their channel out if you haven't done so already, because they do fantastically high value content. And their spoiler videos are fucking great as well. So go and check those out when you can. Spike Feeders. But yeah, Bill, you are an awesome guy. I love speaking to you every week when we do the Living Legends podcast. You're just a lovely, fuzzy feeling that I get. when I hear your voice. That sounds a bit sort of lovey-dovey, doesn't it? But that's true. You know, I get that warm, fuzzy feeling when I speak to Bill from Spike Feeders and the Living Legends podcast, I might add. But yeah, I look forward to that every week. And hopefully one day the podcast will pay for one of your expensive hiking coats. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, Canada also has another awesome individual that I've had and made some amazing memories with, and that is Matt DeMarco, also known as Flake. You are the voice of Flesh and Blood, I think. A lot of people know who you are from your fantastic sort of commentating and casting experience, and you really do have the head for this industry. I think you're doing a fantastic job, and you have a great voice as well. Because we shared some karaoke moments, and we're going to share some karaoke moments, hopefully, in San Jose as well. I have done a lot of research. I know exactly where we can go. But yeah, there's going to be another post, another Twitter sort of tout for where that's going to be held. So make sure you stay tuned for that, Flake. But yeah, again, we've had some fantastic moments and we've shared some great sort of experiences so far. So hopefully we have more of those going forward. So keep up the great work, Flake. I love you a lot. And again, thanks for believing in me and inviting me onto Instant Speed, like the Flesh and Blood podcast, apart from Living Legends, that is, and Fresh and Buds, of course, and Flesh and Pod, and Pitch Perfect Pod. So many podcasts, so many good ones out there. But yeah, a lot of people see you as the podcast for Fab. Obviously, you get all the good James White scoops and all that good stuff. So if you, for whatever reason, if you haven't listened to Instant Speed, go and check it out. But again, thank you for inviting me onto there, as well as the Stack as well. That's a great time. But yeah, all the 983 media stuff is fantastic, Flake. So keep it up, mate. Next, we have Australia. And I only met some of these guys recently, and that was at Lille. So I met Fluke and Box randomly at Lille. He was just there, just having a meal or having a few drinks, I think. I don't know what the restaurant was called, but you were there. So John was there. John Warden was there, as well as Ryan and Philip as well. If you're Australian, you probably know who these guys are. Ryan Bell and Philip Mackay. And again, the way that I met you guys was so random. It was really random. Basically, my Switzerland friend was, just lying on the floor taking pictures of the buildings in Lille, and then John was like, "Oh, that's Az. Az, what are you doing, mate?" And then I was like, "Wow, okay." And I just walked over to him while they're having a meal and drinks, yeah, that was it. We just got talking. So thank you, Phil, and thank you, Ryan, for just accepting this random bloke with weird trousers on into your conversation, into your space at that time. Because again, you didn't know me from anybody right then. You didn't know who I was. I was just some random bloke with a mullet with really, really colourful trousers just coming up to you. So again, thank you for your warm embrace, Philip and Ryan. And it was good to meet you, and I hope to see you again at Worlds. You Aussies, you know how to have a fun time, and yeah, I just love hearing about your experiences as very, very high competitive Pro Tour players. Obviously, John, Philip, and Ryan are all very good at the game. And I think Philip has a series actually, or started a series recently on YouTube, which goes into how to get better at Fab. So hopefully that continues, Phil, because that was a great little video I watched recently. But yeah, Australians, keep up the great work. You're awesome. Fluke and Box as well, just a nice guy. He helped Pleasant Kenobi actually source a lot of cards that he was looking for at the time. So again, if you've got any questions around sort of collecting, trading, pricing, sourcing pieces that you need, then go and speak to John Warden from Fluke and Box, because he knows his stuff 100%. So yeah, go and check him out. New Zealand. So obviously this is where all of the LSS employees hail from, most of them. So from everyone that I've spoke to, whether that's via email, like Chris Bewley, we've also had Chris Bewley on the Living Legends podcast answering all sorts of questions on content creation. That was a great time. You're an amazing guy. I met James White recently at Lille, and albeit our sort of interaction was brief, you were very, very nice. You put your arm around me and took a picture of your thumb out. So lovely old job. Yeah, he gave me a little bit of a hint as to Azalea's journey. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, hopefully we'll see a little bit more of you in San Jose, James, because I want you to sign some Azalea Cult membership cards so I can give them away. But yeah, LSS, all the people that I spoke to there have been just lovely. So New Zealand is just getting a massive tick for awesome individuals. And Lynette as well, from recently starred on the Azalea Cult, the original cosplayer for all things Flesh and Blood. You're awesome. You're an awesome woman. So keep up the great work for cosplay, and I hope to see your Kyloria bag soon. And Ian Kenderdine as well from Right Time Gaming, just another great bubbly guy who knows so much about games, and is exploring all sorts of different games as well. Just loves the gaming space in general. It's just a nice guy. I've played against his Levia deck back on an old video of the channel actually, so you can go and check that out as well. I think it was the Life's a Pitch episode 2 when I was still doing those. So you can go and check out a game, Azalea versus Levia. I think it was a few games actually. We'll see. I can't remember. But yeah, Ian, Lynette, and all the LSS folks, you're doing a fantastic job. So just keep up the great work, keep up the positivity, and yeah, that's it really. Singapore. I made a friend recently on here, Lost in Space. You might know him for his in real life UPF videos, which are very good. And he's a patron of the channel as well, so he has been for a fair while. So cheers for that. Stuart, I believe your name is. So keep up the great work. Hopefully we meet in the next few weeks, because I know you're in the UK. So hopefully we can make something work there. But yeah, keep up the fantastic videos. You make some really funny videos as well, like how to survive your pre-release and draft and all that sort of stuff. Those were really well made videos. So I know again that you're one of those guys that has a family and stuff, and these things can get in the way sometimes. So I know that it's difficult to keep up that schedule, that presence all the time. So just do what you can, but when you do it, well done. So again, thanks very much for your patronage as well over the last few months. Yeah, I look forward to hopefully seeing you soon. Next, in that same sort of area, we've got Brunei. And there's this one guy from Brunei, you may know him, Ziggy. Again, he's been a patron of ours now for at least 9 months. He hopped onto it pretty much as soon as I started the Patreon. So he was one of the original Patreon members and still pledges at the highest tier. So again, thank you very much for all of your support, Ziggy. It was great having you on the Ultimate Pit Fight Patreon special recently. I know you've been taking a bit of a break recently from Fab, but you need to have these breaks every now and again. So yeah, I hope you're well. I know you're well actually, because I spoke to you the other day. But I can't wait, hopefully, to meet you in the future for maybe a big event in Asia. Some people might have seen my graphic recently, which I made, which mimicked the sort of Brazil one that Flesh and Blood put up. I made a Japan one, which has got a lot of retweets and a lot of traction on that. So hopefully we'll see one over that sort of way again soon, because I need an excuse to get over to that sort of area. Asia, just in general, I need more of an excuse to get over there. But yeah, it's a big trip. It's one of these things that needs to be planned quite far in advance if you're going to Asia. So we'll see what happens there in the future. But thank you very much for your support over the last year or so. And I know you like your hand a lot, but sometimes you do need to block. You need to sacrifice that hand every now and again. So next we have on the list, we have Germany. So Germany, I met a guy called Alex from the Fabled Academy YouTube channel. I met him at Lille, and I have been on some of his early content actually, where he was interviewing different members of different communities in the world. So you can go and see that on his channel. I was actually on there quite early on. But again, lovely guy, makes amazing videos for Flesh and Blood's big events. I don't know how long that's going to continue. I know he's had a bit of a bump recently in regards to what he could potentially be doing going forward. But yeah, he's a great guy and makes great videos. So just wanted to shout him out. So yeah, that's Alex from Fabled Academy. So moving on to France, we have the Eye of Ophidia team, or Lyle de Fidia. I don't know how you pronounce your your channel name, but I met with them in a podcast with Ark, which we'll get onto later. But they were lovely. They had some great insights into the French community when I did speak to them. I didn't actually get to meet them in Lille, but just because it was just a chaotic event. There's so much going on, so I probably did miss the opportunity to meet a lot of these people as well. Yeah, go and follow their channel if you're into French Flesh and Blood and just generally good knowledge on the game. Damien as well, I want to shout you out, and all the other sort of French Pro Tour players that I met on the night when I met with Fluke and Box. For the second time, actually, we went to a amazing restaurant and had some Welsh, which was really, really nice. But yeah, all the guys that I met that night, Damien and all the other French folks, shout out to you as well. There's a little bit of a video on one of my other vlogs regarding all you guys. And then the Rock and Bowl store owner, what a guy, what a fantastic French man. So yeah, shout out to you. Thank you very much for allowing me to film in your shop. It was great. It was a lovely experience, and it's great to see local game stores abroad that still have that same homey feeling that you are in a nerdy cave just looking to play great games. So thank you for that. Italy, we got Ark. This is the only Italian man that I spoke to, I believe. I've played a few Italian players in the CC side event, but I can't remember their names. Ark, you stand out because obviously we've played some games for like the Creators of Aria little sealed event. You've had me on your channel before for the aforementioned French Eye of Diffidia sort of podcast thing that we did. But yeah, you're a lovely man, and I wish Flesh and Blood Italia all the success. I know you had a bit of a sort of bump in the road with your actual Ark channel, but I hope that you are still creating great content and plan to make great content for the Italian community, because you are an absolute gem for that community, my friend. So carry on. Brazil, I met someone fairly recently on Twitter. This is called Leo. So I've only spoken to them recently on Twitter, but it's great to see Brazil getting the support from LSS going forward. So yeah, nice little connection I made recently was Leo on Twitter, who's been very, very nice so far. So thank you very much. Malaysia, thought I'd shout out Stormgate Games. So I actually met them on talashar.net. So that's a weird story. And they were like, is that Az from Living Legends? And I'm like, yeah, it's me. It's Az from Living Legends and Go Again Gaming. But yeah, it was good to play a game on talashar.net. I don't play that on there much, but when I did, I had a networking opportunity. Lovely old job. So yeah, hopefully Stormgate Games will be on the Living Legends podcast at some stage in the future. Maybe sort of going over the Asian and Malaysian scene. So yeah. Speaking of which, Japan, DTD is on Twitter, and I believe they play in Okinawa in Japan. So it's keep up the great work, please, on promoting the game in Japan, because there is nothing that I want more than to see a calling in Japan. And you may have seen the little thumbnail sort of graphic that I did recently, following on from LSS's Brazil post. I actually made another post which basically was the same graphic but for a Japan style one. So yeah, hopefully we get a Japan calling or something along those lines in the future, because that would make for an amazing trip. It really, really would. Belgium, I want to shout out Kugane. So it was great meeting you briefly in Lille. Keep up the great work. Keep up that number crunching for the game. I know you love your data points and what have you. So keep up the great value that you give people for that. And it was great to meet you in the Flesh and Blood. Switzerland. So obviously I got a lot to say about this. One of my best mates out, to come out of this game is from Switzerland, Pascal. And he had a troupe of hilarious folks that he travelled with. So he was absolutely brilliant. And Pascal's also been a long-time supporter on the highest Patreon tier for Go Again Gaming as well. So much love to you, my friend, and may our adventures continue in San Jose. So yeah, very, very fun guy, Pascal. You would have seen him on the vlogs for Go Again Gaming. Poland next, we have Drax, or also Sebastian, or also known as Sebastian Bednarski. I believe he judged PT Lille, judged a calling. He's always there in the Go Again Gaming Opens, so the tournaments that the Go Again Gaming channel run. He's always there. He's always playing. He's very competitive, and he's a very knowledgeable player. He always brings some degenerate stuff to make sure he takes away the best prizes at Go Again Gaming Open. So shout out to you, Drax. Finland, so Loro of the World, a shout out to you because you were one of the first subscribers or engagers with the channel. So thanks a lot for watching for so long, even though I had, like, when you first subscribed, I had about 30 subscribers, 50 subscribers, and you're still watching now, so hopefully I'm doing a good job. But yeah, Finland is a great place. I'd love to go back there as well at some stage. So yeah, it's a beautiful place. So thank you again for supporting me for so long. Netherlands, or the Dutch, so I'm going to shout out, I don't know your real name here, Seba Korji. I think I should know it because I gave you the Fabled package. You won the Fabled package, didn't you? Well, so well done on winning that, by the way. And well done on winning the cosplay event as well, that actually materialised as a result of winning this package. So it was great to meet you in your Bravo cosplay. And thanks again for making the absolute most of your Fabled package winnings. You really, really did turn that around, didn't you? You won the cosplay and you got a free ticket to the event in Lille. So well done to you, sir. And finally, I also wanted to mention Indonesia. I wanted to mention Raman from Indonesia, or Bali. So again, thanks for all of your updates from Bali and Indonesia. It's nice to see the scene sort of developing over there, and it's always amazing hearing what is happening in that part of the world. So yeah, keep up the communications there, Raman, and hope you have much success with your waifu Briar. And also thanks to Zulfi as well, who does a load of my character art, who is also from Indonesia. So there's very, very creative people over there, that's for sure. But that's pretty much it, really. That's all the people I wanted to thank from all over the world. I just thought I would do this because of the fact that the World Championships is coming up soon, so I'm probably going to see a lot of you people there. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. Just wanted to shout out everyone, and I hope you're having a great day wherever you might be out there in a big wide world. And we'll see you next one for more Flesh and Blood. Peace.